Did you a handout that summarizes a little bit of what I'm going to be talking to you about. But before I get my remarks started, I wanted just to say congratulations on the work that you were doing with the career track. Those two students were very moving. I had an opportunity to hear them earlier, and just fantastic work. I love it. So congratulations on that. My goal, my name is LAOrtega. And my goal today is to really spark a conversation around awareness on a particular issue, cell phones and wireless technology. But before I get to that, you probably want to know who I am and probably why you should listen to me. I'm a 35-year technology veteran. I've spent the last 25 years getting key technology resources to children and parents across California. Our work in cooperation with hundreds of schools and libraries throughout the state has touched over 30 million people via the media coverage that we have received. We've actually, since our inception, have lifted over 30,000 children and adults out of the digital divide and onto the pathway of empowerment. What I'm about to say to you today should only be interpreted as supporting this community, specifically children and their parents, getting the facts relative to radiation and EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, emitted from cell phones and wireless technology. Cell phone and radiation and wireless technology has affected my immediate circle of family and friends, namely Sylvia, Bear, and Antonio, who had the following in common. They were heavy cell phone users. All three were found to have brain tumors, with Bear and Antonio succumbing to brain cancer. Brain cancer, as we all know, used to be extremely rare. Now, almost everyone in this room knows someone who has had a brain tumor. Now, these were three adults, but what about the effects on children? Which brings me to why I'm here today. What effect does radiation emitted from a cell phone have on a 6-year-old child, on a middle school child, on a high school child? In 2008, there was a congressional hearing chaired by Congressman Kucinich. The congressman demonstrated through expert testimony that radiation penetrates halfway through a 6-year-old child's brain when that child places the cell phone next to his head. How could this be, you may ask? The government will protect us, right? Cell phone providers and the industry will regulate themselves to ensure safety to consumers, right? Well, the answer to those questions is no on both accounts. In fact, the Chicago Tribune just last year sponsored a study and wrote about this study that said that most of us are getting about 5 to 7 times the radiation per the standard that was set by the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. The manual that comes with our cell phones, which none of us read, says that we should not hold this cell phone next to our heads. Says that we should have a 2-finger space. But despite this warning, everyone holds the phone against their head, against their ear. We all do it with total disregard for the dangers we may be putting into our brains, due, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, to the lack of awareness of the potential harms to adults and to children. The Federal Communications Commission's Act of 1996 is the law that was written 24 years ago and is the only governing principle relative to the standards set forth on wireless and cell phone technology. The trick of this is that there is absolutely no relation to this law and to the technology that is in play today. And the other big problem is that this particular law was written without ever testing children handling cellular devices. So it's incumbent upon us to do something about it. And I'm hopeful that these facts will engage subsequent conversation so that we may talk and work together, and letting the public, letting your community at San Bernardino Unified School District know about these challenges and these harms, and perhaps we can save a few lives. Thank you for your attention.